You won't believe what happened to a woman in Arizona, but I think later on you'll either laugh or it might end up being a controversial topic. Like almost everything with Tesla, imagine you get into your Tesla, close the door, and suddenly everything gets locked. That's exactly what happened to this woman. The windows wouldn't open, the glass wouldn't go down, and the doors got locked. In Arizona. She entered her Tesla Model Y, identical to this one, but it was unresponsive. What caused this issue? Because the 12-volt battery ran out. And whose fault was it, the woman's or Tesla's? This is where the story gets interesting. What happened to this woman? Is it really bordering on the absurd or illogical? But I'm going to leave it up to you to tell me at the end if it's a legitimate complaint or if it's ridiculous. Many people have asked a valid question. What would happen if the battery runs out while you're inside your Tesla? Did the same thing that happened to the woman in Arizona also happen to you? Especially when it's not the main battery that runs out. We're not talking about that one here, but rather a 12-volt battery that all Teslas have, which is responsible for providing power, electricity for the windows, the doors, and the lights. Inside, it's that small 12-volt battery. That battery, like any 12-volt battery, has a lifespan that expires, and when that happens, you could end up trapped. That happened to her, and according to the story, what she did was start calling desperately. When nothing responded to her, not the windows, not the doors, not the locks, she started calling a neighbor who came. The frustrated neighbor said to her, "You know what? I don't know how to do it. He's not a Tesla owner. He didn't know how to do it," and the desperation continued to the point of panic. The story becomes even more interesting, I promise you. But if you're enjoying the video so far, give me a like and subscribe to the channel. This channel provides unique and interesting news, bringing you content that others don't cover. Subscribe to stay informed. Let's continue. But here's a strange detail, because Tesla is known for sending push notifications when they know when your 12-volt vehicle battery is running low. With a couple of weeks in advance, with plenty of time in advance. They send you that notification to replace it, so you can contact them and they can come and replace it for you. The battery is often covered under warranty, so it may cost you nothing. So, what would happen to the woman? According to her account, after she calls the neighbor, she decides to call Tesla Emergency Service. And the Tesla Emergency Service sends her a text message telling her there's an emergency exit latch. She shouldn't have been in this situation. Where is it? It's a manual latch. It doesn't depend on any battery. By federal law, vehicles here in the United States are required to have that emergency latch. Look, it gets camouflaged. Obviously, Tesla owners know this. They're aware of it, but a lot of people don't know. And specifically, we're talking about Tesla owners who bought their Tesla and didn't know they had this here. And all the woman had to do was do this, open it, and problem solved. That's why I told you that it's possible many people will laugh at what happened to the woman. Opinions are divided on this matter, as it's unclear what happened to the lady, who maintains that she never received any notification. Some defend Tesla, saying that their notification system has no issues, and others say they should have done a better job. Tesla in making sure that the drivers, their owners, learn and see exactly what possible challenges they might face. Like what happened here, where the 12-volt battery ran out. With all due respect, ma'am, I don't doubt your version is true. But she also had access to a smartphone. If you go on Google, if you go on YouTube, there are countless tutorials, instructions, step-by-step guides on how to get out of a situation like this. However, there's a situation you might not have considered. I know your thoughts at that moment. The lady didn't read the manual. The lady didn't get familiar with it. All those points are valid, but what would happen if the following happened? Look at this. What if you're a father or a mother? You have a baby seat, you put your child here inside the vehicle, you close it, and the vehicle locks itself to prevent what happened to the lady, where her 12-volt battery ran out. That's a problem you don't want to find yourself in. And of course, for obvious reasons, nobody wants to be in a situation like that. But I've come to my studio to present this woman's case to you. She put her granddaughter, and coincidentally, she's in the state of Arizona, where it's extremely hot. Temperatures can reach 114 again, 45 again. Imagine if a baby gets trapped. Well, it happened to her with her granddaughter. She put her granddaughter inside her Tesla vehicle. When she closed the door and was heading to the door of the driver, obviously to drive the vehicle, it locked because exactly the same thing happened to her. The 12-volt battery ran down. It was depleted, and she couldn't open the doors to get her granddaughter out. What did she do? She had to call the firefighters, who came and broke the glass, and that's how they were able to rescue the girl. The question you might be asking yourself, like many others, is, and it's logical, would it be totally impossible if something like what happened to this lady happened to you to leave a child inside? The doors got locked, the battery ran out. Is it totally impossible from the outside? So, is the only option to call the police or rescue units to help you break the glass and that way be able to access the inside of the vehicle? Well, not necessarily. However, in some cases, that could be the only way out, the only escape. What can you do? There are mechanisms, but they require a bit more knowledge, they require time, and they require some tools. For example, and I've taken a screenshot here to show you in a visual way. Look, some people here, I think you can see the small battery with a coating battery, 23, that battery. In the front part, the Tesla has what they call the frunk, or the front trunk. Well, when it locks, when the 12-volt battery runs out, you also can't open the frunk, that front trunk, in any way. That's where you have access to that battery, so you can jump start it to charge it again. So what do? Well, that's why I'm showing you this diagram, because I went ahead a little bit. In the front part of the vehicle, underneath the front, there's a cover that can be easily removed, but you need to have some tools to get out of trouble. Those tools would include a small A23 coating battery to attach to the terminals, positive and negative, which you can see there in the diagram. And that way the trunk or the front trunk lid, the frunk, lifts up and you'll have access to that battery. But that's not the only thing. Besides that, you're going to need a pair of cables or a portable charger, someone to help you if you don't have one, to give it a jump start, as they call it, to that 12-volt battery, so you can recover some energy that lets you open the doors. It's not easy, especially for someone like the lady we saw with her granddaughter. Not everyone can handle it. Not everyone carries those tools, and not everyone has the same skills to do it. Therefore, it represents a big problem. Yes, it does. However, the purpose of the video here is not to spark controversy, like don't buy an electric vehicle, never buy a Tesla. I'm not saying that. It's simply for informational purposes about what has happened. That's all. The decision of whether a Tesla vehicle is right for you or not, whether it works for you or not, is very personal. But it's important that if you're considering one, you take all these things, all these challenges into account. That in a normal vehicle, in a vehicle with, let's say, mechanical door operation, you wouldn't have. Basically, in the case of Tesla, as we just saw in these examples, it can happen. Does it happen very often? I really don't have the statistics or the data on how often it happens, but it can occur. Does it happen with gasoline vehicles that someone gets trapped inside? Yes, even children have died after being left behind, but for different reasons or circumstances. So all these things are meant to make us think a little and reflect. And there you have the story. Let me know what you think down in the comments. It's a good topic for discussion, and speaking of topics, I like to bring you different subjects, the things nobody tells you. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to this channel, where I bring you this kind of content and much more. Car reviews, latest releases, news, and interesting stories. Subscribe. Welcome to the Freedy Car Power 360 community. See you in the next video. Big hug.